All right, guys. Happy Monday. My name is Brad Miller. I'm one of the hosts of our Health Huddle call that we do every Monday at 5:30. Short call to kick off the week right. And kind of our motto is that optimal health, begins and starts every single week. So it's good to support each other. It's good to learn. We're always learning and growing, and that's why we cover different topics on this, and continue to grow and support ourselves on it. So it's really cool looking at all of the pictures here, because I know how much is changing and molding, and you guys are conquering your life. So just awesome that we get to do this together. I will get to kind of the topic tonight, but I thought before we open it up, and whoever wants to come off mute here or possibly even type in the chat, I'd love to hear who has had a victory this week. Large, small, weight, non-scale. Like, who has something that we're celebrating this week that you guys want to jump in and share? I think Leanne does. She's raising her hand. Go for it, Leanne.
Okay, so in February at Go Global, I lost 5 pounds, and I have held steady with a 7-pound weight loss to go. This week, I saw 132.
132? Oh my gosh.
I am this close to my green line. And by the end of the next 60 days, I'm going to be smack dab in the middle of that.
Oh my gosh. I love that focus.
First time in my entire life.
For those that don't know, Leanne, how much weight have you lost? And maybe another non-scale victory about it, because there's so much more than the weight that you've lost.
Holy cow. So since the beginning of time, I've lost 155 pounds.
Oh.
And I've lost 110 since August 12th, 2014. And I have lost seatbelt extensions, and I have lost low self-esteem, and I have lost the mulligrams, and I've lost a lot of pain. And you want me to go on?
That's a lot of good stuff there. So what's kind of point, what kind of lines in with what our series has been this last little bit is you've gained health, and you've totally created that. That's awesome, Leanne. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right, let's do maybe one or two more. Who else has a victory this week that they want to share with people or talk about? Who's next? I know many of you guys have them. Who wants to share next? Who's going to do it? I think Ciosi's going to do it. He can't unmute himself. Ciosi, you're on. What's your victory?
My victory is knowing that every Monday I have someplace to go and celebrate other victories with other people. Man, I've come so far, just not like everybody here. The consistency of being able to come to a group, man. This is my go-to spot, and thank you for making this happen for me. I'm been down 65 pounds, and I'm still living my daily habits of health, and now I'm sharing it with everybody that I can, because it's work. That's my victory for this week.
I love it, my man. We started a new 90 days today, so we got a new goals to hit, right? He's driving, so he's multi-talented. I think that's pretty good. Anyone else want to share anything tonight before we hop in tonight? Any victory you guys want to share? I see Lindsay says she's finally under 300. That's awesome. Who else has something before we hop into tonight?
I got one.
All right, go for it.
Yes, this is Antonio from Tracy. I just want to let you know that I just spoke with one of our clients yesterday, and she have lost 30 pounds, met her goal, and she's off of one of the medication that she has. She's a pretty private person, but she's very excited of what's going on, and she's really happy of what kind of result that she's getting. She's getting so much attention at work that sometimes she doesn't want to be seen anymore, because she looks so awesome. Everybody's saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" So I'm excited for her.
That's awesome, man. Way to go. That's a really good it feels good helping other people have those victories. It's incredible. So that's a really good way to start off this week. So before we jump into the topic today, I just want to say welcome to any of the new people that are here. I see some new faces. We do this every single Monday, and we cover a quick topic of health. We get our mind right for the week and know that we're not alone on this. So the last 4 weeks, we've done a little bit of a series, just kind of understanding in depth, fueling our bodies and what that means. So we started off with week 1, just learning about how to set goals for different seasons. Like, how do you set goals that are different than weight loss? How does that work in our body? And, basically also starting off, many of you guys, like, you guys probably all started off like me. Like, I was starting a diet when I started. So I didn't realize I was starting a lifestyle change. So just kind of hitting that basics day one. Week number two, we started going into some nerdy information about our body, like all the different things that go on in our body that we don't understand, like the chemicals that get released when we do certain things, the things that give us more of what we want. Understanding weird things like when we don't sleep, how it affects our mood, our cravings, those different things like that. Just even weird things like, why does it take our brain 10 minutes to understand that our stomach is full, and all those things that fight against us, and low blood sugar levels. I think we all have gotten a little hangry, and also just learning about how to handle that now that we've learned to fuel 6 times a day. You don't want to go over 5 hours of eating. You'll get hangry. You'll start to lose your mind, and we kind of understand now why that happens. And then last week, we went over a bunch of just life hacks on how do you live a healthy lifestyle every single week. Lori went over the thermos, the little containers, the water bottles everywhere, the blender bottles everywhere, meal stash everywhere, prep on Sundays, and then ways to expand and where to get recipes from, because, living healthy should be tasty. And when you fuel your body and give it what it needs, there's plenty of options to help do that and make it simple for yourself. We even talked about the Be Slim. Many of you guys are new to our program, and you guys don't realize how big of a tool that is to maintain your health for the rest of your life. So we went over how to utilize that. So this leads us to the final topic, which is healthy mind, the healthy mind portion of healthy fueling. And this is actually probably one that ties it all together, because this helps us understand, how do we go about practicing these things? How do we live optimal health? We can't always be on a diet. Life will throw us for different, seasons. It'll throw us to the ringer sometimes. Sometimes different things are going on. So how do we keep this right on all that information we have? And so I actually invited someone that I am semi-fond of. I kind of like her. She's my wife. I think she's incredible. She's probably the best person I know that has helped people had breakthroughs on this, and she keeps me focused on this. So I thought I'd bring her on and I'd ask her some questions on how she helps people keep the mind right portion of this healthy fueling. So Ashley, are you there?
I'm here.
Let me see. There you are.
There's an alarm going off somewhere in this house. Hang on. It's off. I'm at my mom's. Hi, guys. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Ash. So we've had this really good series. Obviously, you know the victories that we have, and we're kind of just focusing on this month of July. Now that we just finished, it's August 1st, on basically committing to learning how to understand these different things for different seasons. July tends to be a month where it's not normal. Your routine's off. How do we handle different seasons? So we went into a little bit more in depth on understanding how fueling works, all of these different things. And so one thing you really help a lot of people with is the stuff that gets caught up in our head. So I guess just after 7 years of you doing really well in your health journey, helping a ton of people, you've had a baby, lost the weight, been a mother, you've lived health on, you've done fitness competitions, you've done health on multiple different levels. I think just giving some people some tips on how to bring the healthy mind into this to practice, some things that really have kept that you would encourage people to keep in mind as they're walking on their journey moving forward, and especially handling different seasons.
Okay, yeah. Happy to provide my assistance. Well, let's see. Where do we start with this? Healthy mind's kind of a trip. I don't think it's what we signed up for when we signed up for this. And I don't think we understood the commitment that we were actually about to go through. I don't really know how else to explain it, but I think when you decide like you want to do something about your health, you don't really fully understand what is about to happen. So if you are in that boat right now, just so you know, you're actually normal. So everybody is feeling the same thing. It's not just you. And frankly, I don't want to diminish how amazing it is and life-changing it is to develop physical health. But I think just to be really transparent, I think what messes us, I don't want to say messes us up, but is shocking is for a lot of us who maybe have always had weight issues, we expected all of our issues to go away when the weight issue went away. And I've coached plenty of people in 7 years to know that that was a really emotional toll for them. Was, you know, even a relative of mine at 80 pounds down, I think she thought that was going to solve all of her mental problems and insecurities, and that was just going to be the magic fix, because that's what she thought she'd always wanted for 30 years, you know, and it doesn't. So that's kind of like a heavy way to start a topic, and I'm really sorry about that. I just want to call it out so you feel the humanness in this whole experience, because that's really what's going on. So to kind of address that, in all the coaching I had done, when I started health coaching, I really started health coaching because Dr. Anderson, the co-founder and medical director of Take Shape for Life, our company, I became a health coach when he came out with Dr. A's Habits of Health. Brad, can you show that? So it's like this big textbook, and it's phenomenal. Like, don't get me wrong, it'll change your life. It's so good. It's such a good resource. Okay, so then I start coaching, and most of my conversations after the first like couple weeks to a month, when you get the basic foundations down, like, okay, you know how to eat every couple hours. Maybe, yeah, once in a while you run into an issue where you're like, oh, I'm not drinking enough water. Can you help me with tips? Or, oh, can you help me with some lean and greens? But majority of our conversations weren't necessarily about those nitty gritty details, because once you get that down, you know, you kind of have it down. So then, I don't know how many years into health coaching, maybe 4 years or something, Dr. A came out with what should have really been the first book before the Dr. A's Habits of Health. So can you get that one out, hon? Okay, so that's like a chapter book, and it's called Discover Your Optimal Health. And you can seriously read it, like sit down. It's a really easy read, and it's so much Dr. Anderson's voice coming through. There it is. He's holding it up. Discover Your Optimal Health. It's really his voice coming through. So that was a huge relief for me as a coach, because I felt like, oh my gosh, finally, literally every single conversation I have, he is addressing the head stuff in that book. Like, that's really where it starts. So again, I hope that you're hearing what I'm saying is like every client, every conversation, everyone who's really digging in and doing this, we're having, it's like Groundhog's Day, but like a beautiful Groundhog's Day. I'm happy it's the same thing, because it shows that you are breaking through. So as a coach, it's like really powerful. Like, I'm like, oh, I've been there, or I know people who've been there, and you're normal, and this is okay. And can I link arms with you, and are you comfortable? Like let's move to the next part of this journey, because I know what comes next, and I know you can break through this, and I know people who have. So anyways, hang on one second. I gotta check chat. We're good. Anyways, so I hope that's a good like tip, that you are a human, that your humanness is normal, that everyone feels this way. And that it's not a smooth, clean, crisp, perfect road. I really think perfection and the striving for perfection is not, how do I say this? Like, striving for perfection with this program is like death. Like, it's not real. Striving for consistency is real. And perfection makes you are either, it's very black and white, right, wrong, win, lose, life, death, all or nothing. And that's perfection. And I can tell you, because I've lost my own, you know, I gained a fair amount when I was pregnant, and I've done lots of other things that took a lot of consistency to get to where I wanted to go. But perfection just isn't in the equation. So the sooner you can just call out that mentality and call out that your head hitting against the perfection wall, the sooner you're going to break through to understanding consistency is the payoff. So the other thing with that is I just don't want you to think that there's only one program that we offer. It's not just 5-in-1 or nothing. And that could be like blowing your mind right now, or you could be like, yeah, I know that. But some of you, you don't know that. You've never heard that before, that there's more options than 5-in-1. Not every season you go through is a 5-in-1 season. Some seasons totally are, and that's what it's great for. But just don't think that, well, 5-in-1's not my season right now, or what's wrong with me? It just might be season for 4-and-2, 3-and-3, 4, 2-and-1. Like, I'm saying those fast, so don't stress out. You don't have to be making notes. Just talk to your coach. Like, I'm hitting my head against a wall. Is this not a 5-in-1 season? Do I need to look at my options? And just focus on consistency. Anything else, Brad?
No, this is so good because this really kind of comes back on the other end. We actually started this by kind of explaining why it's so important to hit goals. The reason why we actually did this series is because it was July. Most of us were in different seasons. Many of us were not in 5-in-1 seasons when the previous month had been. So learning to understand and learn more about how it feels good to just be healthy and not be focused on perfection. And also kind of the essence of what you're talking about. It's so important to be clear on what it is you're accomplishing at all times, because if you're clear, you won't kid yourself and you won't find yourself lost as much. I mean, there's two sides of that. Like, for instance, if you're in a 5-in-1 season, or let's say you're just not in a 5-in-1 season, but you're just like, oh, I know I need to be it. That's not clarity, and you're going to hit your head against the wall. Or there's the other side of it where you think someday you will be happy because if you lose all of your weight, or when I get down to this, or if I do whatever this, not enjoying the clarity of the moment of the season. So just the importance of goals. And that's also why we dove into tips, tricks, and understanding our bodies on like why the things you're feeling. It's okay to feel your feelings through this process. So back to what you're saying, Ashley, I think this is so important because you help so many people that have just hit that mental wall of not being excited about their health journey. Because I think if there's one thing to take away from this whole season is understand that there is things going on in your body that are there. You're a normal person, and that if you do all of these practices, you will understand what's going on, but you will also know how to be excited about what you're doing in whatever season. And how great would it be to always feel excited about what it is you are doing in that moment? So I think, Ashley, before we kind of wrap up here, is how do you help people that, how do you continuously stay driven on a goal? How do you stay creative? And in that same topic, how do you help people that kind of lose that focus or get in that comparative reality because they're not clear on what they want?
Okay, so for myself, I have done this long enough, and I think honestly, it's something for you to know looking forward to is when you do this long enough, you start to see the road bump before it hits. You see the red flags before they come. You see the walls before they come. And I think it's like not, okay, so I tend to have anxiety. And anxiety is where you're trying to control your future. Okay, some of us have depression. And depression is when you aren't forgiving yourself for something in the past. And so either one of those has an effect on your journey. Does that make sense? So for me, being like a tendency, if I don't keep myself, like if I'm not being present, I can obsess over the future. And that can cause problems where I'm not really in the moment and I don't really know what I need at that moment. So taking myself back to like the present, and you are going to have to go through a journey. If this is you, if you're like, oh my God, that's me. Like there's different ways to start to navigate that. But being in the present is what helps me see what's about to come. So I don't obsess over it, but I'm aware of it. So if I start to see that I'm about to burn out on something, it probably took me 10 different tracking strategies to lose the weight on the Nursing Mothers program. It wasn't just, oh, I just used a check sheet for 7 months. Like I did like 10 different navigations. I was using apps. I was using paper. I was journaling. I was like, sometimes I would just take a breather, maybe take 5 days where I'm just like, I'm I'm tired of tracking right now. I'm going to make the best decisions. And on Monday or whatever day, I'm going to reassess, how do I want to track from this point forward or whatever. But I would set like bars watching before the burnout would hit. So that's how I've always done it. When I've done fitness competitions, they're on 3-month cycles. So I knew at 13 weeks, okay, I'm going to be on stage or whatever, or I'm going to hit this PR with lifting, and I know it's coming. How am I going to deal with the next stage? And that's where you need your coach, okay? Because that's new for you. This is a new frontier. This is where the coach is. And your coach's job, in all reality, is to ask prompting questions that help you come to your own conclusions. Like, they're guiding you and they're bouncing ideas off with you from their own experience, from what they've seen, but they're helping you come to that place because you do have it in you. So just that awareness and watching things. Like, I'm a fast burnout. Like, I do Bikram for 3 months and I'm tired of it. If I don't have something, if I don't watch and I don't see it's coming, then all of a sudden I'm not doing any exercise and I have to wait for that next like burst of energy. Why not just look ahead and be like, I know myself. And some of you are like, I can run, I'm a runner, or I'm a cyclist, or I'm this. And you can do that for the next 20 years. Like, you just have to kind of know yourself. The same goes with my nutrition. I am not a person that can eat the same thing every day over and over and over and over. Some of you are. Just know yourself. What else? How I help other people? I think how I help other people is how I just told you I get help from my coaches in my life. So I'm that coach to my people. I'm just asking questions. I'm helping my clients navigate what's already inside of them. I'm just that person that they can trust, that they can go there with, if that makes sense. Because really, you're going there within yourself. And you need to do that with somebody that you have a trusting relationship with. So that's really me as the coach. That's what I'm doing with my clients. And I think giving that permission, so it sounds weird. It's not like I don't really have the authority to give an adult permission, but sounds crazy. But sometimes that is what we need. Sometimes we just need that someone to kind of have that grace with us and just be like, maybe this isn't have you thought about consistency over the perfection while you're hitting your head against? Like, what if we could explore something? What's tripping you up? Well, I keep wanting a banana. It's like these things happen. It's like, why are you telling yourself that a banana is the worst thing ever? You know a banana is healthy. It's just not in your 5 and 1. What if we found the program that a banana is in? Would that help you be consistent? Yes. Okay, let's look at a 4, 2, and 1, and the 1 could be your banana. Would that help you? And you come to those conclusions. My job, every coach on here's job, is just to like listen and be there for you. Does that help, Brad?
Judging by the chat, I think it helped a lot of people tonight, Ashley. So this was the perfect way to tie up the subject. Hopefully you guys learned a lot during this last season. We'll do something cool over the next little bit on these health huddles, but hopefully you guys gain some perspective on just learning how to set goals for seasons. And by goals, I mean not something that inspires you, not something that you need to force yourself to do. Have fun with it. Be clear. It's so important to be clear. And you'll find that everything kind of comes back to the basics. Dan talked about when we practice things over and over again, we build neural pathways. It's like building habits within our brain. And so when you understand all the things that we went through and you practice and you continually revisit and have clarity, this just gets easier and easier. So I guess, Ashley, to recap some of the things you said, or paraphrasing, I would say be very clear on what you want. Don't pay attention to anyone else. Know your seasons and learn to feel your feelings, and then learn to understand what's going on in your body. And if I had to give one last tip is, I hate to focus on the negative side of it, but also the positive side of it. Some of you guys have always felt really, really good. Like you felt in your groove in your journey. Like you've never felt better before. Some of you that might be in this right now, you're like, I don't know which way is up. And that's the ebbs and flows of life. And now with some of the things that we've gone over the last few weeks, you understand what's happening in your body when you are on the high of high, and you can go create that in like a second if you just grab onto where things are and understand you have a plan. And so the other thing I hope you guys have taken away from this season is that you are definitely not doing a diet. This is not a food thing you're doing. You're starting a new way of life, and it's all pertinent to what you want and what you're doing. So my last thing, the last tip on this entire season of this month of July is one of the best things you can constantly do is look back on what you've done well over this season. So we've learned a lot. I've seen a lot of your faces over and over on these Zooms this last month. It's been really good, a lot of cool stories. If you felt like something was particularly amazing that you grew in this month, that you practiced or learned and put into effect, or that you conquered or that you went through, email Ashley and I. We would love to have a drawing and a special prize for you guys by next week. You can email us at optimalhealth247@gmail.com. Anything small, anything that's important to you. We'd love to do it. We have a prize for you. We'll do a drawing and we'll announce it next week. So that's the last tip that I got for you is always look back and realize what you've conquered. And that'll also make it easier to look at what you're excited to do next. And you can always be excited about what you're doing with your health. So Ashley, I just talked about some things for a second. Anything you want to cap off as we finish off today?
I honestly, you guys, I'm going to be doing a talk on this with our coaches about the similar thing, but from like a coaching perspective, from a business ownership perspective, an entrepreneurial perspective. But for you, I'm going to give you the same advice is I think it's time for some of you to see how much humility there is in the people you admire and how you are so much like them. So I would say get Dr. A's book. There's a Kindle version. There's an audio version. I'm not meaning to like throw a book at you, but I'm just telling you, like, if I don't say it, I'm going to feel horrible. That book is life-changing. So that. And maybe choose one other person, figure or something that you really, really admire and study everything they've had to go through to get to where they got. And just remember, like, you admire them and look how human they are, and you're so human too, and that's okay. I don't know. I just think it's really important to surround yourself with like greatness because it brings out even more greatness in you because you see it's okay to be normal.
I don't want to say anything after that. That's pretty incredible. So with that being said, guys, let's go take on this week. Ashley, thank you so much for this. We are all going to be dealing with this at some point, but that's why we're on a lifelong journey. So I'm going to leave this with, we're starting a whole new month. What are you guys excited about next? I would love for you guys to always be clear on what you're most excited about in your journey. It can be in all different aspects in your health. So send us an email. We'd love to announce a winner next week and look forward to setting some goals and hitting some new topics over this next month and sharing more victories with you guys. Great job tonight, Ash. Thank you, everyone who shared. Have a great Monday and have a great week.